What's up, everybody? We're back here for another Brian Koberger update as the search warrant from Pennsylvania, his parents' house, has been unsealed. So we get to see what they were looking for and maybe part of what they found. I don't know if this could possibly be everything, but we'll see. We'll go through it together. We'll see what they look for, what they were allowed to look for, where they looked, and of course, what they found. So hit that like button if you guys are still interested in this content, and for us to continue to keep you updated as we get closer to that preliminary hearing, and subscribe if you want to be around for more videos on this topic. So let's get into it here. The description of the premises and or the person that they are going to search is the residence in Chestnut. There's a lot of things that are hard to read on here. We'll do our best, but it's a single family residence with a white siding, tan foundation, and dark colored shutters. Attached garage is located on side B, a small shed with a door and windows located in the rear of the property, along with the curtilage of the property. The owner or occupant is Michael Koberger, Marianne Koberger, and Brian C. Koberger. This is a criminal homicide, and here is the warrant. And it was done on the 29th of December, 2022, and it could be served anytime during day or night, but no later than 4:35 p.m. on December 31st. Okay, I think that was interesting because they have this box to check. The warrant shall be served as soon as practicable and shall be served only between the hours of 6 a.m. and 10 p.m., but in no event later than that, which I think is interesting. It was a conscious decision to be able to serve this at any time of night for the element of surprise, so he couldn't plan, so he couldn't destroy evidence. All of those factors were taken into account. All right, so when was this actually served? Well, we knew it was the early morning hours of December 30th, approximately 1:25 a.m. Did they seize property? Yes. And here is the rules here and what they could do. And I'm gonna have to lean into a couple of these to make sure I can read it. The contents of the search warrant. Each warrant shall be signed by the issuing authority and shall specify the date and time of the issuance, identify specifically the property to be seized, name or describe with particularity the person or place to be searched, direct the search be executed either within the specific period of time, not to exceed 2 days from the time of issuance, which is why there was that time limit on it. We're seeing the documents we're going to be looking at. These are the rules they have to be within. Or when the warrant is issued for a prospective event only after the specified event has occurred. Direct that the warrant be served in the daytime unless otherwise authorized, which we saw that it is authorized. Designate by title the judicial officer to whom the warrant shall be returned, which we saw. Certified that the issuing authority has found probable cause based upon the facts sworn to or affirmed before the issuing authority by written affidavit attached to the warrant. And at the end, we see the same probable cause affidavit we've read through multiple times. We're not going to read through the entirety of that this time. I think we're going to read through about 9 pages, this 30 pages. When applicable, certify on the face of the warrant that for good cause shown, the affidavit is sealed pursuant to Rule 211 and state the length of the time the affidavit will be sealed. As we know, this was sealed. Contents of the application for the search warrant. Each application for a search warrant shall be supported by written affidavit and sworn. It has to state the name of the department, agency, or address of the affiant. Identify specifically the items or property to be searched. We'll see where they do that. Name or describe the person to be searched, particularity. Identify the owner, occupant, or possessor of the place to be searched. Identify or describe the crime which has been committed. We saw that, homicide. Set forth specifically the facts and circumstances which form the basis of the affiant's conclusion that there is probable cause to believe that the items or property identified are evidence or the fruit of a crime or are contraband or are expected to be otherwise unlawfully possessed or subject to the seizure, and that these items or property are expected to be located on the particular person or at the particular place described. If a nighttime search warrant is requested, state additional reasonable cause for seeking that. When the attorney for the Commonwealth is requesting the affiant be sealed, state the facts and circumstances which are alleged to establish good cause for the sealing. Copy the search warrant. Law enforcement officer, upon taking property pursuant to the search warrant, shall leave with the person from whom or from whose premises the property was taken, a copy of the warrant and affidavit in support thereof, and a receipt for the property seized. They have to let you know what they took. A copy of the warrant and affidavit must be left whether or not any property is seized. If no one is present on the premises when the warrant is executed, the officer shall leave a document specified in paragraph A at a conspicuous location, meaning posted on the door or on the living room table or whatever, so that they're going to find it. A copy of that warrant and affidavit must be left there. Notwithstanding the requirements in these paragraphs, the officer shall not leave a copy of the affidavit that has been sealed. So you don't have to leave a copy of the affidavit if it was sealed. Return with inventory. An inventory of items seized shall be made by law enforcement serving a search warrant. The inventory shall be made in the presence of the person from whom possession or premises the property was taken. When feasible or otherwise in the presence of at least one witness, the officer shall sign a statement on the inventory that is a true and correct listing of all items seized, and that the signer is subject to the penalties and provisions of 18 PACS section 4904, unsworn falsification to authorities. The inventory shall be returned to and filed with the issuing authority. The judicial officer to whom the return was made shall, upon request, cause a copy of the inventory to be delivered to the applicant for the warrant and to the person from whom or from whose premises the property was taken. When the search warrant affidavit is sealed pursuant to Rule 211, the return shall be made to the justice or judge who issued the warrant. I think it's important to read those rules so that a lot of these will answer a lot of the questions that you all have as we read through this warrant. And I think that's why it's important for us to understand this is what they can do. This is how they have to do it. But there are certain things that could be sealed. And as we read through the property that they seized, it's possible, I think, that, nobody's come out and officially said this is the entirety of this search warrant and everything that was seized. So it's possible, I think, that other things could have been seized and under seal, but it looks like this is what they got. Next page, on 12/30/22 at 1:25, the person served was Brian Christopher Koberger. And here is the receipt of property that they gave Brian C. Koberger. 1 something Defiant silver flashlight. Number 2, 4 medical style gloves. Number 3, a white Arizona Jean Company large t-shirt. Number 4, Champion Washington State University Cougars large black sweatshirt. 5, something of black and white part. Of black and white size 13 Nike shoe, not Vans. A pair of black Under Armour shorts, Under Armour black large shorts, Under Armour black boxers large, 1 buckle swab, and nothing else. It's not a lot. Not a cell phone. Not more computers and things that maybe he took with him, tablets, whatever. Very interesting. All right. Next, what do we have here? The person of Brian C. Koberger, including all items listed below. The person of Brian Koberger. So this is what they're looking for when they search his person. And again, same thing of when they can search and who signed off on it. Items to be searched. Any and all of the following which may be found on his person: blood or other bodily fluids or materials and items with blood or other bodily fluids or materials on, in, or near them, knives, sheaths, other weapons or instrumentalities of injury or death, and sales receipts or documentation from purchases or acquisitions of such items. Documents, records, medications, drugs, and or other substances, prescriptions or otherwise, bottles, labels, syringes, packaging, and other items associated with medications, drugs, or other substances, prescription or otherwise, that could relate to physical or mental states of assailants or victims, or relating to or containing information indicating, suggesting, or otherwise evidencing violence, a physical attack, a fight, or motive, hostility for any of the same. So, was he on medication? Is this going to be with a mental health issue? They want to get all those details. Next, any property belonging to Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and other redacted names. Documents, records, data compilations related to the King Road or any of the victims. Clothing, to include but not limited to dark shirts or pants, masks, shoes with a diamond patterned sole. Interesting. So maybe those Nikes do have a diamond patterned sole. That would be interesting. And we can relate this back to the list of items that we knew they took. Black shorts, white t-shirt, which, Washington State Cougars sweatshirt. We can relate it back to that. But we can also see what they didn't find. Knives, sheaths, weapons, receipts for those weapons, medication, drugs. Interesting. DNA, footprints, fingerprints, fibers, animal and or human hair or other physical or trace evidence or items bearing these relating to or containing information including, suggesting, or relating to violence, a fight, a motive, hostility for any of the same. 4 samples of Brian Kohberger's DNA, a buccal swab taken from inside of his mouth, and or whole blood samples. We know they got some buccal swabs. Alcoholic beverages or other intoxicants, and any containers or receipts for the same. Data compilations relating to or containing information indicating, suggesting, or related to violence, stabbing, fight, or motive, hostility for any of the same, to include without limitation ledgers, papers, lists, books, notes, letters, calendars, diaries, tapes, photographs, videos, and or other media or similar documents or items, computer and communication devices capable of storing electronic data, other electronic storage devices and media, and access to contents of all of the above. We didn't see any cell phones, computers, things like that. So maybe that was just a list of what they took off his person, but it seemed like it's like multiple shorts, right? It's like, Under Armour socks. So we had a t-shirt, sweatshirt, shoes, socks, shorts, boxers. So maybe that was just all on his person. Any electronic devices, including all communication content, including email, text, applications, cloud storage, notes, voicemail, including attachments, source and destination addresses, time and date information, connection logs, images, and any other records, including indicia of use, ownership, possession, or control of such communication or information found, all location data for the above, which may be stored in GPS locations or cellular tower connection, data including metadata of photos or social networking posts, Wi-Fi logs, and data associated with installed applications and history and search terms, all stored IP addresses associated, all financial information related to the above, all indicia of ownership and control for the data and cellular device, such as device identification and settings data, addresses, books, contacts, social network postings, updates, tags, Wi-Fi network tables, associated wireless devices, Wi-Fi networks, Bluetooth devices, associated connected devices, backup devices, and stored passwords or user dictionaries. Indicia of residency in or ownership of or possession of the vehicle and any of the above items. Whew. And this list is very similar to another one. We're not going to read the entirety of it, but next we're talking about, instead of on his person, what were items on the continuation page, but now we're searching the actual residence. So we searched his person and could seize from his person, and now they're saying they can search the actual residence, and they're looking for the same things: blood, weapons, documents, anything connected to the victims or the house, clothing that's dark, DNA, footprints, alcoholic beverages, data, electronic devices, indicia of residency in or ownership of or possession of the premises, which is interesting, and then specifically of the vehicle, which was the white 2015 Hyundai Elantra. That's the little different nuance there in page 8. And now we get to page 9, which is the last page we're going to read together. This is the probable cause done by, it looks like the Pennsylvania police. And then, like I said, here is the affidavit statement of Brett Payne that's also connected as Exhibit A. But for this one, your affiant is Trooper Justin M. Leary of the Pennsylvania State Police, Stroudsburg Station Criminal Investigation Unit. Since 2009, I have served as a detective with the Lackawanna County District Attorney's Office, a special agent with the Pennsylvania Office of the Attorney General, a task force officer with the Federal Bureau of Investigations, and currently as a trooper with the Pennsylvania State Police, Troop N Vice Unit throughout my career. I have conducted hundreds of criminal investigations, including numerous homicide investigations. Your affiant is Trooper Brian V. Knoll, also a law enforcement officer since 2012, and he's been in the Criminal Investigation Assessment Office since 2019, conducted hundreds of criminal investigations. On Wednesday, December 28th, the Pennsylvania State Police was requested to assist Moscow Police Department from Moscow, Idaho, and FBI with a homicide investigation, which occurred on Sunday, November 13th, 2022. As part of the investigation, we reviewed reports and affidavits prepared by Moscow Police Department, established probable cause for issuance of the search warrants related to this investigation, which are included as Exhibit A. Furthermore, investigators began physical surveillance of the property of Brian's parents. And in the early morning hours of Tuesday, December 27, 2022. Okay, so they've been surveilling his house at this point. They observed Brian Kohberger walking near the residence. Additionally, his vehicle was observed entering the Indian Mountain Lakes development on December 16th of 2022. So they were surveilling him back then potentially, or got camera footage. And the vehicle is still believed to be on premises. Investigators are also monitoring Kohberger's cell phone data, which appears to be in the same vicinity of this residence. On Wednesday, December 28, 2022, while conducting surveillance, investigators observed Kohberger traveling throughout Monroe County and arriving back at his residence on, I don't know why that's redacted. Based upon this, your affiants believe that Kohberger is located inside this residence and in possession of the items related to this investigation. Your affiants are requesting a search warrant be issued for the search and seizure of all items listed in the items to be searched, along with forensic processing of all items. Your affiants are requesting all digital devices seized be forensically examined in a controlled environment at some future date, and until such examinations are complete. Additionally, based on the serious and violent nature of these crimes, including risk of general public safety, your affiants are requesting a nighttime search warrant be issued to execute this search warrant at any time, and the affidavit of probable cause be sealed. So if you were wondering what it looks like to ask for and add additional facts in to get a nighttime search warrant and for it to be sealed, basically all they said was, because of the violent nature of these crimes and including the risk of the general public safety, that should be enough for us to do a nighttime execution of this and seal it. But they know they're also going to get everything in. More explanation here in Exhibit A. So that's why it was allowed. So this is the search warrant here. They have to provide an inventory. This is the only inventory we saw. I'm hoping for the state's case that they found the cell phone and other data and other items to be collected on the premises, and this is just what they searched and seized from his person, although I don't know why he would have 4 gloves and a flashlight on his person. But this is not telling us a lot, not giving us a lot of information as to what the state has, not giving us a lot of information as to what the evidence may be that has been collected in the prosecution against Brian Kohberger, which, again, should be concerning for the state because they need to find more data. They need the cell phone. They need this information in order to put together a case that's beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, we've heard leaks and we've heard things maybe potentially coming out. This would have been concrete. We know that they have at least seized and gotten and could test his cell phone or a tablet that he took with him, or, a personal laptop or something like that. Who the heck knows? More questions than answers here from this search warrant, but I've gotten a ton of questions about it. I wanted to go through it together, talk about it with you. Let me know what questions you have in the comments, and we can continue talking about this and continuing following up as we get closer to the June preliminary hearing date, where we will hear a lot more about what the state has. And a lot of you are saying, why is this stuff coming out? Why is this stuff being unsealed? Why is discovery happening before the preliminary hearing? Because it's time for discovery. And this is when we learn about the case. And this is when Kohberger gets to see what evidence they have against him, and when the state can request what documents or evidence Kohberger and his team may have. So let me know questions you have. Hit that like button so we can keep discussing this case. But to me, we got to see the rules of the search warrant. We got to see what they said, what they knew. They surveilled him throughout December. That's what they saw. That's what they knew. And I mean, this is what they got, which is really not much from my point of view and my perspective. But let me know what you all think, if you disagree with me or if you agree with me in the comments. As always, thanks for joining me. Until next time.